Do you have this blue, Bob?
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing, prequel villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a team and DJ on the ones and twos. By the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another stylish episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 483, recorded Monday, July 1st, 2024. Tonight we're talking about another Patreon pick. This was chosen by Logan. The movie is Deerskin from 2019. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randeezy.
I'm French. How's it going, buddy? Good to hear from you. Good to talk fashion with you. Are you ready to get into male fashions of the killer variety?
We know plenty about that, as is evidenced on a daily basis, of course.
I mean, I've got this stylish hat. I've got this fluorescent orange t-shirt. What else does a growing boy need, you know?
You're just getting ready for the Halloween season coming up in a matter of days.
Matter of many, many days.
4. Last but not least, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, bonjour, mon frères. Je m'appelle Soju. Good to see you again, boys. Let's get fashionable.
Man, we are
Too late.
ill-equipped for this episode.
Hey, I have some sense of fashion after a
the white
decade of
belt.
living in Korea.
The white belt is the only example I can think of.
The
fabled white belt
class
from college.
Dude, that was hot shit back in the day. Black tea, white belt, baby. That's how you rock it.
That's it.
Hell
That
yeah.
is a thing that was worn quite frequently.
I had a corduroy jacket in middle school.
Whoa.
That counts for something.
Hold on. I didn't know you were rich.
But not the pants, only the jacket.
No. Just
you got to
you can't
build a
go
whole
full corduroy.
ensemble, Bob. You got to
Just
need the
Corduroy
pants, you
hat.
need the corduroy gloves.
the corduroy 3-piece suit with the vest and the
Dude,
tie.
holy shit.
the hottest suit
Corduroy
ever
hat.
Probably, yeah.
It
Yeah.
breathes. I wear it in the summer because it breathes.
It breathes.
Killer
Oh.
style.
Killer style. Before we get into the movie review, let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping real quick here, gentlemen's. So it's a new month. That means we got a brand new poll up and a poll just closed. Our July poll went out with Ice Cream Man on top. So we're going to be talking about that in a couple weeks, probably.
Oh, hell yeah.
But our August poll is currently posted on our Patreon website. If you guys subscribe at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this August. And we wanted to pay a little bit of respects to one of our favorite filmmakers working, one of arguably the most talented filmmakers working today. Your boy GDT, Guillermo del Toro. We missed several of his bigger movies, so we figured we'd put a poll together with 3 of them for you guys to vote on. And those movies are The Devil's Backbone, Pan's Labyrinth, and Crimson Peak.
Oh, yeah. Bob, how those numbers looking on July 1st?
The first of the month. Pan's Labyrinth sitting at the top with 53% of the vote. Crimson Peak in second place with 29%. And The Devil's Backbone picking up the rear, 18%.
Whoa, get that
Damn.
rear, devil.
Pick up
That
my rear.
Pick it up.
It's
damn.
on the
Man.
ground.
Okay. You're
Time to
just
do
vying
some
for bump space now.
Squats, my guy.
Dude, I'm learning that the hard way right now. I've been losing a little weight, and now my tailbone hurts after like 10 minutes of sitting down. It sucks.
Well,
I got no padding on
you
this
take
thing. I got
you take
fucking
after
Hank
Hank
ass.
Hill, yeah.
Yeah. I
Need
got
They
a
got
diminished glute.
Flat
I do.
I'm
Get
gonna
that.
look for a guy with a round, muscular butt.
It won't be Randy.
It won't be me. Never me. Always the bridesmaid.
Never the round ass.
Never the pert round bottom.
Well, get those votes in. You've got literally a whole month, and then we'll see what we're talking about this August. In other Patreon news, we're dropping mini casts every other Friday. Recently, Randeezy just dropped a mini cast talking about stop motion, a Shudder original.
Whoa.
Holler.
That's
Holler,
right.
holler.
Holler, holler. Next up, I think we're gonna drop a mini cast from your boy Soju talking about a spider movie. Sting.
Spider-Man. Oh no, yeah.
Oh,
Sting.
Stingmang.
Yeah. So Sting is a creature feature that came out earlier this year. It's actually a pretty like solid winter movie. It not Christmas though, not sneaky Christmas as far as I could
Ooh.
tell. Just winter, a lot of snow. But it's I actually it was a lot of fun. You don't get a lot of creature features these days. And it was yeah, I don't know. It's pretty straightforward, honestly. It's just a lot of fun.
Nice. Haven't seen that one
agreed.
yet.
Oh really?
Curious
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
I saw Infested, and it kind of hit me the same way, where it's just seemed like this is a good creature feature. Like it's
Yeah.
just basic, not bare bones. That's not the right way to characterize it, but sometimes simpler is better.
Yeah, no, I was very pleasantly surprised with Sting, honestly. So yeah, I would
Nice.
recommend people check it out and listen to me talk about it.
Cool.
For
Well, yeah,
money.
that mini cast is dropping on the 19th. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And that's really
No,
all
that
we got
wouldn't be the
going on.
19th, would it, Bob?
Oh, sorry. Stop motion is coming out on the 5th.
Oh,
So
okay.
stop
motion
motion
is
hasn't come
coming
out yet.
Oh,
coming
okay,
out on the 5th.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and then Sting is the 19th. There you go. You got a couple to look forward to.
Okay.
I would have
but
never
that's-
caught that in a million years.
I was
Yeah,
like,
well,
that seems far away.
About to let it blow by every other week, just like we promised. You guys got anything you want to plug?
Just
I
my
think my
beehole.
house is clean.
Yeah, I think so too. Bob, how's your house?
Squeaky.
All right.
His house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We're talking about Deerskin, and we are kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, it didn't seem like you had this box.
No, I don't have it.
Does
the
it
way
exist?
I don't know, honestly. I didn't even look.
This movie's kind of hard
Wow.
to find, honestly.
Yeah. The way we closed our U picks, and then this was coming up so quickly, I just watched it on the interwebs, and
Oh
didn't
my
even.
God, you
Bob.
charlatan!
I know.
Oh my god. You're
God
feeding the
damn it.
They say
machine.
a computer can do my job better than I can damn do it.
Feeding the machine you hate.
I know. What's wrong with me? You could probably buy this somewhere. I'm not really sure. So there you go.
I'm not sure if you
Deerskin.
can, honestly.
Maybe not. From 2019. This movie, I think, came out like moments before COVID, and then it just vanished. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody really took notice of this. It's flown kind of under the radar, at least to my knowledge. So this is a French language movie with a runtime of 1 hour and 17 minutes. This was written and directed by Quentin Dupieux from Rubber fame. We have reviewed one of his other movies, Rubber, about a killer tire, and it is
Now we
Enough
got a
said.
killer. Now we got a haunted jacket.
it is
A killer
bizarre.
tire haunted jacket.
This
The man
guy's got a,
fetishizes haunted objects that are very mundane.
he's got a style, and it's
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's weird. It's just fucking
It's
weird.
what?
Accessories.
It's just haunted objects, boys, just like Annabelle.
That's just like Annabelle.
He's the
exactly
French-
like Annabelle.
The French James Wan is who we're
Mhm.
talking about. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. A man's obsession with his designer deerskin jacket causes him to blow his life savings and turn to crime. I feel like that's kind of misleading, actually, but some of that
Mhm.
happens.
I don't know how you could properly lead this movie. Like that's
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
tough. It is
like, yeah, that's all true.
Yeah.
A man wears a haunted jacket and goes insane.
Is it haunted? We'll
Yeah, I don't know.
discuss.
That's the question.
So yeah, gentlemen, have you seen this movie before, and would you recommend folks check it out? Randeezy, kick us off.
I had not seen this before. I know Justin, you brought it up at least a few times in what you've been watching, or something like that, or maybe in our top 10 of whatever year this came out, something like that. But no, I had not seen it yet, and I had been meaning to, and I don't know if I'd recommend it or not. I'm kind of baffled by this movie, and I say that as somebody who kind of enjoyed Rubber, so I don't know is the answer I can give you right now. It's an experience. It's not a high time commitment, so I appreciate that in my experiments. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Right on. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I had seen this before on Logan's recommendation from the Slack, who picked this film. So a strong endorsement for the Slack. Watch good or get good movie recommendations. And so this is the second time I'd watched it, and I really enjoyed it the first time. I really enjoyed it the second time. I think, in my opinion, I like this movie much better than Rubber. I think it's quite funny. It's short and it's interesting. I think it's just an interesting film on top of that, but it's quirky, but the comedy kind of lands more for me here. And the kind of like acting and just I don't know, overall story, like Randy said, it's really short. So yeah, I would recommend people check this out. It's not like too easy to check out. Or you just go straight to streaming or whatever. I think originally I'd watched it. It was on HBO or something. So I'm not sure where it's at these days. But yeah, I would recommend people check it out. Bob, how about you? Do you recommend people check this out?
Yeah, I'd heartily recommend this. I really enjoyed it actually. Rubber is I don't love it or hate it. It's interesting. It's weird. I don't really know if I can fully wrap my mind around it. But this movie like kind of took me on a journey when I was watching it, when I was like just trying to figure out what the fuck it's about. I don't know if I got there, but it was a fun journey. I really enjoyed the trip. So yeah, it's a breezy watch. You can watch this 3 times in the same amount of time it takes to watch The Irishman once. You know, like you can squeeze it in.
He watched it twice before we're done with this podcast.
Yeah,
so,
you
I
can.
mean, that seems
That's
to
fair.
be his style. I was looking at some of the other movies he's done, and the runtimes. I think the longest movie he's ever made is like 95 minutes. They're usually like an hour 10, an hour 20, maybe.
To
Like,
be fair, though, he's got a particular style that's quite hard to
It would
stomach.
be-
It would be,
it
yeah,
would
if
be
you made
tough
it
at 2
any
hours.
longer. Yeah.
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows when to pull the ripcord. I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
That sounds, I don't know, like 2 recommends and 1 IDK. So a decent
That's a general
recommend.
recommend.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's a good
It
recommend.
averages out.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we are going to spoil the shit out of this movie, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, is your plot synopsis in French?
We
I know you took it.
and
Whoa.
retained it all.
outrageous accent?
Je m'appelle Robert.
Dude,
Bad.
now that I'm living in another country, I really wish I had taken my high school language classes a little more seriously.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel that all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I've taken more Spanish classes as an adult and failed horribly. I was like, I should have used my sponginess when I was a teen.
yeah, exactly. All right, Bob, hit us with that plot synopsis.
Here you go. Georges buys a fringed 100%. 100%
100%.
deerskin
100%.
deerskin jacket from an older gentleman for 7,500 euros. The man throws in a brand new camcorder just to sweeten the deal. Georges then checks in at a small hotel and says he's having banking issues he plans to sort out the following day. He ends up leaving his wedding ring with the receptionist as collateral until he can pay. He goes to a bar, chats up the bartender, Denise. He lies and says he's a filmmaker, and as luck would have it, the bartender is a film editor. She takes interest in his project. Georges goes to the bank the next day and finds out his estranged wife has frozen the account, so he can't take out any more money. Georges starts filming random things, including him wearing his new favorite jacket. He begins having conversations with the jacket, pretending it's sentient. The jacket offers its greatest dream to Georges, which is to be the only jacket in the world. Georges then says his greatest dream is to be the only person with a jacket in the world. The jacket asks Georges how he plans to realize his dream. The next morning, he finds out the receptionist committed suicide in the hotel. He goes into the room to see the corpse, and he takes his wedding ring back and also steals his 100% deerskin cowboy hat. Georges then meets up with Denise and asks her to edit his film. He hands her a tape and asks her to also no longer wear jackets. She obliges and gives him 500 euros for more tapes to shoot on. Georges explains his producers in Siberia will certainly reimburse her whenever he can get a hold of them, but they've got bad reception. Georges uses the money to buy 100% deerskin boots. George then begins filming several people for his movie and having them say they promise never to wear jackets again and throw all their jackets in the trunk of his car. And then he drives away and steals the fucking jackets. He then pays them as well with what money he gets from Denise, and slowly works towards his dream to be the only man in the world with a jacket. Denise starts editing the footage, and she loves it. She thinks it's some sort of mockumentary with social commentary built in about how all people wear various types of shields. She gives him another 80 euros. He shoots one more scene in which he murders two people with a metal fan blade, and he rips their jackets off their corpses. He gives it to Denise, and she loves the new footage yet again. She gives him 100% deerskin pants as a thank you for hiring her. She also says she knows that he has been full of shit and has no producers, but offers to fully fund the movie via money she inherited from her father. Georges goes on a killing spree. He kills just a shitload of people wearing jackets with the fan blade. He films it. Dennis buys Georges 100% deerskin gloves, and they go out into the countryside to film a scene. While in the wilderness, a hunter mistakes Georges for a deer and shoots him dead. Denise is filming, and when this happens, she turns the camera at herself and pulls the deerskin jacket off George's corpse and puts it on. Roll them credits.
Love it.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Clear as a bell to me, right? That's
that ending, it really is the cherry on top, and it has always stuck with me in my mind. There were a lot of details that until the second watch, I remember like the fan blade, him like preparing the fan blade and going on a killing spree. I had kind of forgot the aspect of like only jacket in the world and shit like that. But the ending has always stuck with me. I was just like getting shot in the woods wearing this deerskin.
All deerskin.
Dude, this shit is so perfectly weird and delivered. Like that ending is what delivers the kooky weirdness for me and just pays off and actually does something. That's that ending, I think, just sticks the idea of like, this is not someone just bullshitting around. This is legit. And if it was somebody just bullshitting around, I think it would still be somewhat entertaining because it is quite funny. But I don't know. Just that ending has always stuck to me as like, this is what makes it like, it's not just stupid bullshit. It's not just weird kookiness. It's like, it really sticks it for me. It's always stuck in my mind since I watched this the first time.
That's interesting. I like the idea of him getting shot out in the wilderness, standing brazenly, openly with his all deerskin. Like the idea that he's kind of getting confused with a deer is hilarious to me. But like, it's a comeuppance for him, like beaming a kid with a rock. And it's like, if it had been just like a hunter hunting and then the hunter strapped him to his car or something, I think that would have been funnier to me. I was still kind of baffled by that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would watch this movie and Rubber and probably some of his other movies and think it is total bullshit, total garbage. When I was watching this, like the first act or so, I was like, is this nonsense? Is this going to amount to fucking anything at all? And then I started to ponder. I was like, well, he's got a reputation for making kind of bizarre, off the wall movies. And I was like, I wonder if he got tired of being criticized for being a pretentious filmmaker, that he's like, fuck you guys, I'll give you pretension if that's what you fucking think I want to do. And but then, like, as the movie developed, I was like, George is like the definition of pretension. And I was like, my mind just went on this roller coaster. I was like, is he taking like the absolute bare bones definition of pretension of this guy who like gets a camera for free, just decides he's a filmmaker, shoots when he first starts out anyway, shoots literally nothing, and then gives it to this bartender and she thinks it's incredible and reads all these wonderful things into it that aren't really supposed to be there at all. And I was like, is this some sort of like criticism of moviegoers and critics that are like shitting on him? And I was like, well, maybe, but then like by the end of it, like the roller coaster I went on, I was like, I think it's kind of a bit of a, it's taken the piss out of, I think, like filmmakers, film goers, and critics just sort of like all at the same time. The way these characters are written and developed. That's what I was getting from it anyways. I don't know if that resonated with y'all at all, but
I
that's
had
what I was
not
getting.
had those thoughts at all. So
Oh,
that
Yeah.
was interesting.
Well, I agree with you, and I actually the reason I think that this film is actually quite accomplished because I think it also tells a type of story that like I think that that is definitely there and definitely important. So that's built into what these characters are doing and how it's written. But also in a way, if you are able to kind of like remove that layer in a certain kind of way, it's built in, but if you're able to kind of like take that and put it to the side, also too, as like this horror or this slasher movie
Mhm.
too, it's about this, I mean, it's kind of like a midlife crisis type of situation. This man gets divorced. He uses all his money to
To buy a social media platform, right?
well,
Oh
to
wait, no, different guy.
yeah, to buy well, to buy this thing, this fashion item that transforms him, you know, like his new identity, his new self, and it becomes his self. And he is at this point where he's old, so it's more than like a midlife crisis, but and he's lying to change his who he wants to be or who he wants people to perceive him as, and he's got this newfound fashion or whatever, this kind of confidence, and of course ends up hanging out with this young chick who is just kind of like naive and gullible and kind of like takes advantage of her. I don't There is like this whole other kind of story as well that functions in its own right in in a like a in a an accomplished way. Like it's I don't know. It's if you just took even the social com or not, even if you took the commentary away, there is this horror slasher type of story that
Totally.
works
Yeah.
within itself.
Yeah. When he starts murdering people with a fan blade,
Dude,
I
that's
I was not anticipating that shit at all, especially the kill where he like stabs it through the top of a
Through the
woman's car and then
yeah,
into her soul. Like,
yeah.
because
it's
she
some pretty,
stopped for a second. Like I don't
yeah,
remember. Like yeah, I don't know. Like it
yeah.
definitely does have like the like. I was waiting kind of impatiently for the horror stuff to start. Here's the thing: Rubber for me hit like, and I don't want to spend all this whole time comparing it to Rubber because that's not fair. But Rubber to me like landed very easily because I knew from the outset that it was going to be silly. In some way, this isn't like this can't be self-serious, and if it is, that's silly in and of itself. Period. I did not know the first thing about this movie, and my I don't know why I got this impression, but my impression of it was that it was like I think in my mind it like cocktailed with killing of a sacred deer. So I was like expecting a
Uh,
far more serious film,
Oh
and I
yeah.
was just like completely blown, like baffled by what I was seeing, and like, okay, so is this a horror even, or is this like just a quirky comedy? And it is that, but it's both ultimately. But yeah, oh, thank you,
you,
me.
you
I
That
made
was
a
a total
pause happen
accident.
for your own point.
I did, yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
You know, I make great points.
The,
But
to
yeah, I just don't know.
touch
I,
on Rubber, something that was really similar in theme with this movie as within Rubber. It's been a while since I've seen Rubber, so I can't remember exactly how it's embedded or what it, or why it's there. But you remember there's like a very critical audience like
Yeah.
watching this
yeah,
tire kill things. So I think that is at least a bit of a through line in this movie and in Rubber. Maybe in some of his other movies too. I'm curious, but he does seem to have some sort of I don't know, agenda analyzing the like film going and in like film criticizing experience. I don't know. There seems
Yeah.
to be an angle there that I find interesting, but also in this movie specifically, the way that Georges is framed, I think is also kind of analyzing filmmaking in and of itself. Because you've got this dude that is like so hilariously into his own style, and he assumes that these much younger, attractive ladies at the bar are talking about his jacket. He's
I
like,
love
"Oh,
that
are you
scene.
talking about my jacket?" They're like, "No."
That's like an Office segment. Like it
Yeah,
seems like Michael Scott shit.
but his like arrogance and obsession with style, and him like sort of like literally trying to put every single dollar that he owns into this project and losing his wife and like faking it till he makes it, like pretending he knows how to do stuff that he doesn't know how to do. Like he asks Denise to be his creditor, but he means editor. Like things like that are just, I don't know, it's sort of like turning the mirror maybe towards himself a bit in a way, and like analyzing sort of the self obsession or just general obsession in like the things that you have to sacrifice to make a movie, and like you kind of have to be a little crazy to be that dedicated to make it happen, and like the positives and the negatives, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of stuff in here that is about the film industry, I think. But
And it's
also
yeah.
how hilariously it's like I'm reading all this shit into it just like Denise is reading into his bullshit.
Yeah.
So like it's like it's a bit of a mind fuck. Like, is any of this supposed to be there? Am I Denise in this situation? Is this a pretentious ass movie? I don't think it is, but like even that thought is interesting, you know?
Well, I think it's very interesting that me and you both really enjoy it, but your focus is really on these like built-in like the film industry and what's it saying about the film industry. I think I really like it from the aspect of the character study, and that's kind of like
Mm.
what I was missing before. It's like it's this kind of accomplished character story as well. This, kind of dive into this weird man who really like is you're right. He's so dedicated to this cause, and it's this thing of like finding this identity and even though so you've like lied to two people who don't even know you that you're a film editor, but you're so at the bottom of your life, you have no money for a hotel, you spent all your money on this jacket, and like you literally just keep digging yourself into this kind of grave. Like you've lied, and then that's who you want to be. You want people to see you as that, and it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And he's like killing people and make it. And then there's this one person propping him up. Like every time he brings her this footage and she thinks it's right, and it like feeds this psychosis that he has. And I find that very I just think that that's accomplished well on film here. This kind of like psychosis that this man is just falling into because he told this one lie and he's like has no money, and he's now wrapped his identity into this fashionista and move it. Like all of a sudden he was nothing, and now in his mind he's like, yeah, I am fashionable and I am making a movie, and there's this young pretty woman who's like who gets it, and she gets me, and I like now he's on top, and it's just it's ridiculous in that way. I think it's accomplished in that way.
It's so funny. Like the way you guys describe this movie is far was it, the experience of hearing you say that. I can see your points, and I like that movie better than what I than the way I experienced it. I'm not even saying that it's not the movie that I saw, but I was not like I didn't experience it this way. I was
Mm,
like just truly bouncing all over the place trying to figure out what the fuck this movie is. And I think, like I said, like I was not necessarily sure what I was getting into, so I think that added to my confusion. I didn't like think about it as for like an exploration of the filmmaking industry, but I guess I could kind of see that. It just seems like I think I was split between what you were both seeing in terms of like I was interested in what this guy was doing, and he was an idiot. He almost seems like a Mike Judge character by the end, like just this kind of dipshit. And like like Justin, your version actually reminded me of a movie called Mr. America, which is a Tim Heidecker film within the universe of the On Cinema podcast oeuvre of work, where he is like, it's like a documentary, a faux documentary, where he's going around like pretending like he's running for, what is it, running for some office. I can't remember, and he's just being a huge dipshit to everybody, and it's like people reacting to him being a dipshit like real people. That's kind of like what it sounds like you're describing, but it's like, to me, I'm the it still is just a film, you know what I mean? Whereas that's like a mockumentary, it like that sells it for me. Plus, I know that character a little bit better. It's just, I don't know. I was just kind of like bowled over by this stuff. I didn't really know what to make of it, and I'm still kind of like, I can see what you guys are pointing at, like that maybe there's some similarities to Rubber in terms of like talking about the film industry. Maybe it is about pretension or whatever. And Rob, you and I mentioned this to you guys on text. I was like, I'm kind of baffled by this movie. And Rob, you said I really like it. It reminds me of your experience watching No Clip, which is a movie we watched at the or I watched at the Chattanooga Film Festival recently. That we got a screener for. Thank you for that, Chattanooga. And like that movie was not at all what I expected, but I loved it because it was like kind of the lowest effort thing I'd ever seen, almost like it was just a prank on the audience. But I didn't get that sense from this movie. It didn't feel like I was being pranked. I felt like everything was intentional, but I couldn't parse what it was trying to say. And that's what was I liked about Rubber, is like I liked the character study and all that stuff, but I liked like the audience part. That was my favorite part, is like them being like, what is this movie? Because that's how I felt watching this movie, watching Deerskin. And like it reflect, I don't know. This didn't, it just didn't hit me the same. And I wonder if like a secondary watch with a little like knowing where it's going a little better would help.
Maybe. When I first put it on, I thought I was being pranked. I was like, what the fuck is this? But then like by the end of it, I was like, I just really enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, me too.
It's clearly a comedy by like the midpoint. You know what I mean? Like
It's
I
very
understood that it was a
funny.
comedy, but like I also didn't think it was as funny as you guys did. I felt like,
Yeah.
you know, there were some quirky, funny like chuckles maybe, and I liked the ending of him getting shot, but I didn't think it was as funny as it could be because for the reasons I said earlier. So I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. I was kind of pissed off at him because I'm like, this guy's just going around killing people for no reason, and like I understand that it's kind of as a gag and they're playing it as a joke, but it's like I'm kind of like, what are you being such a prick for? What is this? Like I don't understand his pathos. I didn't really understand what you were saying, Justin, about him being kind of like a divorcee loser. I just thought he like was doing a Todd Margaret thing of making every worst decision he could possibly make. And sometimes that works for me, but it like almost didn't go deep enough into that well for me to really buy it, I guess.
I think
Yeah,
his outbursts are like really, really funny in this movie. Like when he's sitting at the bank and they say that, you know, he's locked out of his account or whatever, and he just screams "mad." This is like random out, and him sucking his wedding finger off the corpse of the dude,
What the fuck?
the
Yeah.
hole in his face,
dude,
is fucking insane.
That's a thing I think that's very interesting to me too. And I want to go back to something Randy said too, because I'm coming on the flip side. But to touch on that, I think that's the thing. If you changed a couple silly moments in this, or even just the silly premise of like, I want to be the only jacket in the world, whatever, there are some solid horror moments in here, like slasher killer kind of moments, and not even like slasher. It kind of reminds me of something like that one movie I hate, something Henry, not Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. The dude who goes to hell at the end. Oh, Bob, you didn't finish the movie. God damn it. I'll come back to it. I hate that movie, but it's more okay. We could say maybe something more like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, even though that's on like completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But to where like the fan blade, that's a very interesting thing. Him making that fan blade has actually always kind of like stuck out in my mind. That moment, like you said, with the guy who killed himself and he's getting the ring back and like taking these items and then it escalating to this further state and like just slaughtering these people. I mean, in its own right, it's got some like solid horror elements to it if you were like to change the quirkiness of it. Like I think that would hold up like in an interesting kind of way too.
Yeah, it's got some some psychological stuff too. It's funny that this movie about a potentially sentient jacket, we're reviewing it and have barely mentioned the sentient jacket at all. Like there's that many things to like pull apart on this. But I was like,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out like what the deal was with that. But like he kind of like speaks to and as the jacket, so I was like, oh, yeah, that's in his head. Jacket's obviously not talking to him. Like in Rubber, from what we can tell, that is a real fucking tire rolling around killing people. In context of the movie, anyways. So like it seems like it's all in his head, and he has this very ridiculous, impossible goal of being the only man to have a jack in the world. Jack wants to be the only jack in the world. It's the exact same goal. They're of one mind. The jacket's not talking to him. But also I think in a way that might sort of maybe highlight the how impossible and like what a ridiculous self-obsessive, completely absorbing, unattainable goal it is, or it might seem to be in order to make a movie with literally no money.
Yeah,
It just sort of like sheer will making it happen. Like
that's true. Yeah.
there seems to be a through line here, especially because in this movie, like in order for them to achieve their goal of being the only man jacket duo, they have to make this amazing movie. So it's like all the exact same
Yeah,
goal.
Yeah,
that's
I guess
true.
so. I don't know, like, yeah.
The House That Jack Built, that was the movie I was
Oh,
trying to
I
fucking think of.
fucking couldn't stand that movie.
Me too,
dude.
but my point was, it's like it's not necessarily in like a slasher, but that kind of movie where it's like, oh, you're focused on the serial killer and you're following around because we're like, oh,
Yeah.
Randy was saying like, oh, why is he doing these things? So in the same way we follow like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, The House of Jack Built, it's like you're focused on the killer themselves and their motivations and what they're doing, and that makes it the interesting type of film. It's like this is that with that quirky twist to have
Yeah.
like he's just wants to wear a jacket. What?
See, and that's the thing is like it's the motivation I think that maybe threw me harder than anything else. I just couldn't figure out what this guy's deal was. Like I don't know. Like there's a
He's fucking
million.
crazy.
I know, but like that
Well-
seems so thin, and it's like,
Yeah.
give me like a little something to help me understand why he's making some of these decisions he's making. Like some of them can be just be like, you know, like a crazy personality quirk in the mix of like your day or whatever. That works. That's Mike Judge shit. You know what I mean? Like sucking the ring off this guy. That's just a fucking insane thing to do. But it is not the crux of the movie. The crux of the movie is that he's obsessed with this jacket. I kind of want to know why and why that translates into murdering people. I don't know. Like it just seems so wackadoo bananas, but not in a way that like it seems like it's intentional enough for me to try and decipher it, and I wasn't able to.
Well, I think I think if you read it my way, like from my perspective of the guy and pouring his like being left at the bottom and
Yeah.
having like literally having nothing. All his money is gone, his wife is gone, he has nothing. So if you look at it through this lens of this guy, all he does is he gets a little bit of confidence and he tells this lie. And that gives him his first positive. And he latches onto that. And he keeps feeding into that.
Okay.
And he keeps feeding into that. And he keeps feeding into it. And it goes deeper and deeper to the point where it's like, this is my identity. It's the only thing that gives me a little bit of positive in my life. And the insecurity that goes with that is like, I know I'm a total fraud. I'm not a movie maker. I'm not any of these things. But to be like that insecurity blown up to this ridiculous scale of no, like it's kind of like the guy walking to the room and maybe like getting a little bit of attention, but then maybe like a slightly more handsome guy comes in and he's like, oh no, all my attention's gonna be gone, like and goes into this deep insecure state, which like drives him even further down. That's kind of like what it is in my mind.
I could see that. Yeah, I think that works like as a concept. For me, I guess I just didn't get a good enough sense of his insecurities before the jacket, or like that made the jacket, like the fact that like her saying that he wore it like armor, I guess maybe was a clue that I didn't pick up on. But like it just seems like we start like halfway or a quarter of the way through that story already without the setup that got me there. So like I understand that to some extent, but and I think that's a fair reading. But like I don't know what this guy's insecurities actually are. And like we know that his marriage fell apart, and the thing that I get hung up on is that he like like grossly overpaid for the jacket and must have been an offer he made. Like I can't imagine what led to the circumstance of him paying 7,500 euros for a fucking jacket of
I
any
mean,
kind. Like,
$750 or
no,
no?
it's
no, I
more
think it was
because
like,
the
I think it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
euro's worth more than the dollar. Or in
mm.
2019,
no, it was
I
like
said,
7,500
Holy shit.
yeah,
euros.
Okay, I didn't
yeah, yeah,
quite.
So it
yeah,
was like thousands of dollars.
thousands, yeah.
Like,
But I
and
mean, did you
the guy
see it?
says this is the most money I've ever seen in one time. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's a really nice jacket, Randy.
I know, but clearly they agreed on the price in advance, and I'm like, I just,
That's
I
gotta be why the guy's like, have this camera. Like I feel like I'm robbing you,
I think
here.
I was just kind of like dropped into the middle of something and I didn't have my
Yeah,
compass. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And it really kind of threw me the whole
that
time. But
makes sense.
I can understand with that point of view, like I like both of your points of view, I think are perfectly valid. And like it would probably be additive for me to watch it again with those in mind. But just as my experience with it was that I could not find my bearing.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
sense.
the
fine. That's
reality.
weird. It is a weird movie.
It's extremely weird. And I really think the runtime is perfect.
Me
Too
too.
much like esoteric, like bizarre nonsense, like will bog you down.
But
Um,
yeah, I think it balances them though well. With Bob, with your point, it's like I don't get so hung up on that, but it's like killing two birds with one stone in a way where okay, so having this young attractive woman attach herself to him feeds in like both concepts. It feeds his insecurities, it feeds his midlife crisis aspect. It gives him some little bit of positivity and encourages him to keep getting fucking crazier and crazier, while at the same time making this kind of commentary on, you know, young perspective of trying to find something in maybe that's not really there, or or attaching yourself to things that just because they're weird and they're different, and then that makes you kind of like I think it works on both ways, and I think that's why I'm kind of impressed by this film, because I do see the two layers, and I think that like they match up well. Like I think the choice for
mhm,
this point and then for this point just kind of like coexist perfectly to serve both
mhm.
ideas well.
Yeah, like Denise's character in this is she's definitely like really helping him put his movie together by literally editing it and funding it by the end of the movie. And in addition to that, she's also like directly feeding into his ego by like continuously buying him these ridiculous 100% deerskin items like the pants and the gloves, and like he takes so much pride in his quote killer style. Like you can just see his head
Oh
getting
my
bigger with
god.
each item that she provides. So it's like feeding his ego in like this artistic kind of way, and also this very like bizarre way that is so specific to this character's like break, like with
Yeah.
reality, or whatever it was. Maybe his wife did divorce him, and like we just don't see that. She's up and leaves one day because of whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not important to the story. But yeah, Denise
You
is
know,
like an interesting character in that way. She's waxing the shit out of his car
Mhm.
twice.
well, and like there's Denise, like thinking about her, like there's a couple things I think about as we're talking about this. One is Justin, to your point, like she sort of adopts the jacket afterwards, and like I guess actually this is more to Rob's point. Like if it is about like young people, well, I guess it's both or not young people, but people who are listless in their lives trying to pursue something artistic or whatever,
Find an
to
identity.
find an identity or
Mm.
whatever. She's kind of finally found that. She's kind of listless in her life. She puts on the jacket and like sort of like I guess you could point to that as like passing of the torch in terms of like talent and all that stuff. So I guess I could see those things like
And
together.
she's also, for the first time in the whole movie, holding the camera at that point, and she refuses to put it down as she puts the jacket on, which is obviously a difficult thing to do, but
Hmm.
she chooses to do it. So like the dream,
And she's not bothered by his death at all.
not at all, she doesn't give a fuck. But the dream is passed on to her by way of the camera and the jacket. Like she inherits the dream to be
Yeah.
like a filmmaker in that way. That's something that I hadn't even considered. Yeah,
So I
Yeah.
do want to since that was brought up, I do want to read this, which is something I didn't consider either, but I was like trying to look up some information on this and came across this interpretation of it, which I didn't think of at all. It says this: the film is made in a way in a way that has two interpretations. One is where George is just a crazy person, and then one is where the digital camcorder is possessed. The digital camcorder is possessed by a powerful entity, gradually corrupting George and Denise's mind. The digital camcorder um being seems to only care about making a found footage horror movie due to a passion for the art of film. They bury the jackets while George is asleep to avoid the issue of dealing with the digger's operation jacket. They eventually abandon George for a host who shares their passion for film, meaning they don't have to entertain the facade of being a jacket.
What the fuck? Like, speaking of pretension, my God, like that's the thing.
That's
Is like,
yeah, that's
But
very
like the
deep.
idea, like she doesn't put that. So you just because you
Yeah,
mentioned
Yeah.
that she
yeah.
No, I
won't put down the camcorder like attached to, I was like, okay, I gotta read this now. I wasn't
That's-
like
yeah, no,
necessarily
that's
going to,
That's
it's
but
wild,
completely
yeah.
wackadoo. Like that's the thing is like you can parse any like there's this oh my God, I'm about to go in a deep well here, but there's a internet series called Lasagna Cat, which started as a series of like jokey videos where they have live action actors portraying terrible Garfield comic strips and then having like a laugh track at the end and then a music video where they like recut it into some silly thing. They eventually end that series. They brought it back after like 10 years and did like 12 episodes or something and did this like insane fucking thing. And it's this, it's this very interesting thing where it sort of talks about how like the I don't know like the cat the cat is oh my God, how am I going to phrase this? I'm going to back up. I'm going to back up. I don't know what to like. I don't know. I lost myself in that. That thread got completely destroyed.
Lasagna Cat. Check it
Yeah.
out.
Lasagna Cat. It's good.
well,
I
so
think you have sent me that before. It's
I
silly.
know I have. I wish I
Yeah.
could remember what I brought that up for now, but
well, something
Christ.
Bob said actually sparked another idea in my mind that kind of goes to the oh, and I was gonna comment on something Randy said earlier too. But okay, to Bob's point, potentially this actually could have the
Oh,
opposite idea of what you were saying, because maybe this guy doesn't take himself too seriously, but some people do really like Rubber, and it probably got a lot of praise from certain people. And this could be a reaction to that in a way of like kind of taking the piss out of himself.
Yeah,
Because
I think he's very much doing that. I don't think he takes himself too seriously.
okay,
Just-
yeah. So just like people feeding into him and the ego, maybe just the kind of like people he could, if he did take himself seriously, he would see himself as George, like, oh, young people or anybody feeding into me. Oh, am I a real artist now? Am I a real movie maker? No, I made a movie about a killer tire. Like it's
yeah.
silly, it's stupid, it's
Mhm.
dumb. And so I don't know. That could be an interesting take too.
That's
Yeah,
like that is speaking. I'm sorry.
I absolutely think that's correct. Like as I was watching this movie, I had this like evolution of thought that started with this guy is pranking me and then ended with he's incredibly self-aware, and I think he's very much taking the piss out of filmmaking in general, of critics of his movies, of people that read too much into his movies, as Denise in this movie is very much doing. And just like the whole everything, like everything about filmmaking, I think, in like his experience with it, and like I think he's very much playing with the idea of pretension and like what it is, and like holding up a mirror to people who say he's pretentious, and also holding up a mirror to people that read all kinds of shit into his movies that may or may not be there, just like what we're doing, because these movies are like so esoteric. You gotta figure it out. So like you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. You're gonna find something, you're gonna find nothing. Like you gotta put some thought into it. You can't just passively watch his movies. It seems I've only seen the two, so like I don't know. I think this movie is about his experience, maybe to more
Okay.
broadly, you know.
I mean, I buy that, and that speaks to what I was trying to get to. I remembered it. I'm sorry for the delay there, but like the strip I was talking about is, or like there was one video in which they had a strip that they depicted where the only joke in it, if there was a joke at all, was that Garfield smokes John's pipe, and John doesn't like that. He was smoking John's pipe. That's it. A cat smoking a pipe. And they after that there was an hour-long video of this academic dude in a turtleneck explaining why it's the peak of humor. And that's the like it's clearly prodding at people digging too much in, finding reasons for things to be valid and important or whatever. And that speaks to all the things you guys were just saying. I think that's a perfectly valid way of viewing this movie, as like saying that it's sort of like jabbing people for reading in too much into something that is patently stupid and silly. Like, and maybe to your point, Bob, that's like he's poking that at the entire like idea of film in general. Like we like loud film as being like powerful and important and all this stuff, but ultimately it's not inherently valuable, and that people can dig into the worst trash in the world and find something valuable in it is speaks to maybe their insanity, or else at least their tenacity. I think about there's a video where Red Letter Media, I think it was, review Freddy Got Fingered and decide that it's a big prank on the studio that decided to make it because it's like unwatchably stupid. And it's like that same sort of thing. Like I kind of feel like maybe that is what I was missing in this movie.
Yeah, as what's Ron Swanson famously said, art, anything is anything.
Yes. Yeah. And like that's kind of true. And you can find like obviously art is valuable to me. I'm a fucking artist as a living, but like, and we review films or whatever, but like we take it very seriously. We get in heated arguments sometimes about it, and it's like, why? For fucking celluloid? For fucking whatever Bugin's jumping out of this closet? Who gives a shit at the end of the day,
Yeah.
But and then people give so much of a shit that they dedicate their whole lives to it and do insane things to produce it. So like I love this interpretation, and it kind of makes me elevate my opinion about the movie thinking of it that way.
Yeah.
Well, so to go on the thing, I want to touch on what you said earlier, Randy, is you liked Rubber specifically. Your favorite part was the audience. That was my least favorite part, because we always go on this thing of like show, don't tell, show, don't tell. And I felt like I would have liked Rubber a lot more if it played it more straight and let me be the audience that he puts onto film. Like, let me come to those conclusions myself, instead of like spoon feeding it to me, or like me, So I feel like this movie is that for me, where it gives me this crazy wackadoo situation and it lets me be the audience that is filmed in Rubber. So that's why I particularly like this version a lot more, because it is still quirky, but it's presented in a way where you do have to think about, like, is this a joke? Is this supposed to be silly? He's killing people. Is it serious? Is it a horror movie? And then I'm the audience. I don't have to be told what to think, like in Rubber. I think what I think. And this
I think that's fair.
podcast, this episode is like that version of that, essentially, which I just prefer that
I think that's fair. For me, like when it comes to comedy, I think I do like I at least have some affinity for bluntness. Like I'm a punk rock kid. When it comes to comedy, just saying it's like I remember way back when, before I was a huge Louis C.K. fan way back when, and at one point he had some joke where he said like, I was walking into the store the other day, and it doesn't matter where because I'm lying, and it's just like that one joke, like he's clearly launching into a story or her story, and we all know it's fake, but him saying it's fake. And Bo Burnham did kind of the same thing, like self-aware shit, where it's like you still go through the artifice of it, but you're also kind of like prodding the very format that you're using. I love that sort of thing, and it takes a little bit of bluntness to make that sell for me. But I don't like showing and not telling when it comes to like drama and stuff and horror. So like straight horror. So I think that's fair. It's a personal taste issue probably.
Yeah. I also like really loved the score in this movie. It's got this kind of like chill, jazzy vibe that it puts on that kind of kind of matches his like killer style in a way. It also reminded me specifically of the last Shadow Puppets some, like without the
Yeah.
vocals, but like
Oh,
just
yeah.
the music. I don't know. I really dug that.
Well, and the setting's cool too. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just him
Yeah.
in this sleepy town pub and this like little motel. It's just a cool vibe, like a chill vibe. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I like the settings.
The chillest slasher of
It
2019.
kind of is.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
He
I don't
practices
yeah.
murder on a watermelon and then like just eats it as he's driving down the road, you know?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
It's
You
just got a
gotta waste that
vibe.
melon.
Just got a
Hmm.
vibe that works for me. Yeah.
Dude, this is the Halloween costume right here. Dressing up like
There you
this
Dude, if
guy.
go.
Holy shit.
you're gonna break the bank though.
Dude.
7,000
Just
euros is
also
nothing to
Yeah.
scoff at.
Also,
Yeah.
too, I love that they make it so obvious, and that's the thing, they make it so obvious how ridiculous it escalates. You have these two concepts that are both ridiculous, and one is that I want to be the only jacket in the world, and so that escalates to the murder. But to make sure, it's extra silly to not read into that motivation or that idea, just to like have these like deerskin pants and like the gloves and like a deerskin hat. Like I don't even, it's just so ridiculous that's so funny to me. Like I don't know, it's just so funny to me. I it's just he's playing with it on both angles, and I like he makes sure that like this is silly, like this is ridiculous, but still pulls it off and then to get shot being dressed as a deer essentially. Like that's so ridiculous.
It's so weird. He seems like a character that shouldn't even be the lead of this movie. He seems like he should be like a charismatic side character, but
Like
they just like
Dale Gribble or something.
yeah, exactly. Like just like a comic relief character in a movie with a little more like direction. I don't know.
He could be. He could be where each scene he comes in, he's wearing
With
more
new
deer
gloves.
skin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like he's showing his footage to somebody is like,
They
"Oh,
need
you're
to bring him
killing
back.
people."
Yeah.
He reminds me of Jim Carrey's outfit in Dumb and Dumber with all the tassels and the
Yeah,
cowboy hat and everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's just
Uh,
so yeah, I don't it just works on such a weird level, but also on a serious level for me. I'm not taking it seriously, but just as a character study, I do think it's interesting. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I even before I like I criticized this movie, but I never disliked it. I just
Yeah.
like couldn't solve the riddle that was presented to
Hmm.
me, and I was like I like it aesthetically. I like that it didn't outstay its welcome. Like it gave me all the clues for this fucking thing, I guess, and like I was trying to like fiddle with it. I was like, I'll bet this puzzle's great once I solve it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I guess
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I
where
don't.
I'm at. That's more or less my review, by the way.
Okay, yeah. I think we could probably go on and on, but we can land the plane unless there's any other
I
big points
think
you
we
guys want to
kind of
hit.
cover it. Like we said, I mean, it's not even too long. Our discussion is going to be, more than half the runtime of the film. But I mean, I think we kind of touched on the main pillars of this.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and roll into it. Randy, since you were kind of getting there, do you want to kick us off? Out of 5, how do you feel about Deerskin?
Yeah, so I definitely have like having had this discussion and hearing what you guys had to say about it definitely improved my general outlook on this movie. My experience is kind of set in stone, and like at least so far for this first watch, and I feel like there's plenty of room for it to grow based on what I've heard here today. But like that experience, there's no going back and solving that one. So like I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. And I know it's kind of an intentionally baffling movie, but I also was like, it's like, going to take a sip of Coke and getting sweet tea. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I was like, I didn't know this was this comedic. I didn't know this was this silly. I didn't know this was this like seemingly aimless for so long. So yeah, all those things kind of worked against me. And I never found the thread that I needed to pull to really like walk myself to any conclusion, much less the two that you guys mentioned. But I do like those interpretations, and I think it's additive. So, all that said, I think I'm going to give it. I was going to give it a 2.5 because I was just so middle, like split on this thing. But I think you guys talked me into a 3. I'll go with a 3 on this,
A 3 from Randeezy. Juice, what about you?
with room to grow, of course.
Yeah, I remember really liking this film the first time. So it's always sat in my mind in positive light, but I was curious to revisit it. And I think giving it, I don't remember, I would say it's been at least a year to 2 years, probably closer to 2 years since I watched this. And I would say that I think the time helped because there were some things that I forgot, like the concept of the I want to be the only jacket and stuff like that, that came back and was funny again for me, like, having forgotten that. So I think some time did help, but it was still positive for me, and still funny. And I was kind of like anticipating seeing that ending again because it had just lived in my mind so well. I just thought that was like such a great ending. And so, yeah, really, the second watch, nothing was taken away. I wouldn't necessarily say it made it stronger or anything. And probably the first watch was more enjoyable just because it was my first time. But I don't know. I think that this is a really good blend. I think all the elements hit right where they kind of need to. The length, the vibe, the setting, the quirkiness is just the right amount for me. And then it also has an interesting character study and some cool horror moments too. Just, I mean, like I said, sharpening that fan blade like on the road and even just that as a weapon, it's just interesting when we talk about killers, signature weapon and stuff like that. That fan blade's interesting. So yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it's capped. I mean, it is what it is, and I don't think this director would want me to rate it that high, or like too high, honestly. I think just his general perception. But yeah, this is a very positive film for me, and I think it kind of like accomplishes everything it kind of wants to. So I'm gonna put it at a 3.5. Dear
Quick
skin.
pause.
Three and a
Can you hear
half
me?
Yeah.
from yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I took my earphones out and it
Mm.
caused havoc. So
All right, Bob, out of 5.
Oh, hey. Yeah, I like this movie quite a bit, as I've already stated. It's very bizarre. I found it to be super engaging and thought-provoking and funny and weird and like some sort of I don't know, it's experimental. It almost feels like an art school kid made this like the first year after he graduated or something. Not that it looks bad, but that it's just like super weird and like you're not beholden to anybody. It feels like it has a certain sort of freedom. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of his movies kind of have that vibe where he's just sort of doing whatever he wants to do, luckily, because I so far dig what I've seen. Um, if you want to like watch this as just a very weird slasher movie, it works. I think, as I've already explained, I also think it works as this kind of breakdown and analyzation of, filmmaking directors
Analyzation.
analyzation of how people receive movies. It's sort of like, I think, taking a kind of a microscope to pretension, and I feel like some criticisms that maybe he's received. But like I said, he's managing, I think, to do all this stuff in a way that is still really very funny. I got a lot of laughs out of the absurdity of this movie. The guy's absolutely obsessed with deerskin for no fucking reason. Like I don't know, it's very funny and thought provoking, and it's got a vibe. I really want to watch it again. I want to see more of his stuff. He's got like a dozen movies or so.
Really?
He's made
oh,
quite a
really?
bit. Yeah, he
I didn't know
churns
he
and
did that much.
burns. Yeah. Um, I think he's made like 4 or 5 movies in the past 3 years alone. Like he makes them very quickly. So I think there's a lot to chew on with this movie, and it's God bless the runtime of 77 minutes. The score is dope. I just really enjoyed it. It's hard. I don't have criticisms really, other than like maybe it's so weird that it gets in its own way, perhaps. Like like I feel like I'm definitely reading a lot into this movie, but it's like I think it's in open for interpretation as art tends to be, but like I don't know, maybe it's like too open. I don't know how to criticize this movie. I like it a lot. It's great art. Anything is anything. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I really enjoyed it.
Damn.
That's gonna put our aggregate at a 3.7. Let's jump into the Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users think about it.
All right, Deerskinites.
Randy,
This is the Rotten Tomato.
I couldn't hear your bump.
Oh shit! I just 1 second. No,
It says on
I'll
Zoom,
have
it
to.
says Andy's computer sound.
It should be here. I'm gonna stop share and then reshare, and hopefully that'll solve it.
It did.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these two gents guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com for Deerskin, starting with critics and then moving on to the users. There are 124 critic reviews for this movie. So 124 is the pool you'll be sampling from. I'm going to start with Bob tonight. Bob, where do you think that percentage of positive scores is going to land out of 124 reviews?
This is an interesting movie. It's I am assuming that the critics are going to prefer it to the audience, just generally speaking, because it's artsy fartsy or whatever. It's open for interpretation. Not everybody likes that kind of thing. I think critics, if you're like watching dozens of movie a week or whatever, like something new, something a little different, something fresh, kind of dig it. Not too high though, because it is very, very weird. I'll go with
So very weird.
a 75.
75. All right, Juice, how about you? 124 reviews, remember.
Yeah,
What do you
this
think it's
is
coming out to?
this is a really hard one to gauge. It could be anything. If it was 12%, I'd say
Could be
okay.
10. Yeah,
If it was 100%, I'd say okay. So I think I'm gonna drop it a little bit lower than that. So I'll just take the straight chillin' special 69 dudes.
69 dudes. All right. Well, let me do a little quick tallying here. Oh, wait, no tallying needed. I know the answer here. So, one of you is 13 percentage points. Is that right? Yeah, 13 percentage. I don't know the tally. 13 percentage points away from the exact score. That exact score is 88%. So
Whoa.
Bob's going to carry this one away.
Yeah.
88% certified
Damn.
fresh.
That's
Whoa.
good, man.
Yeah.
Cool. That's
Hell yeah.
That is good. Yeah. That's I'm going to get to the critics'
I'm
consensus
surprised
in a
there's so
moment.
many
But
reviews, honestly.
Yeah.
124. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it garnered some interest. Maybe there was if it came out right before the end of COVID, maybe there was just like a long period of
Yeah.
not much else. Anyway, there. Now on the audience side of things, you're going to maybe be shocked at how low this is because there's only 100+ audience ratings for this film. So a little over 100. I'm going to start with you, Juice, on this one. Again, there's 100+. Where do you think that those net out?
I would think it would be lower. I think the critics would rate this higher. I think I'm just going to double down on the 69. I think it still could be anything. I would assume it would be lower than the critics, but this is the ultimate wild card in my mind. It could go anywhere.
Well, 69 dudes it is.
69 dudes!
Bob, do you have anything that can top 69 dudes? Anything at all that can top 69 dudes?
I'm gonna take the under on the 69 dudes. Power bottom, if
You're
you
gonna
will.
get under the 69 dudes, Bob?
Oh man. So you can't top it, you can only bottom it.
That's how I stay warm at night. I'll take a 50 right down the middle.
50 down the middle. Well, Bob, I had hoped for you that you would get it on the ringy dingy, but you let me down. It's a 68%. Soju is just
Oh,
one
holy
point away from
shit.
getting that one. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
That's
Shoulda
so
won $1.
positive on the on both sides, because that's still
No.
on the fresh side. I
You
think.
know what that means, though, right?
What? That's
We got
so skeetin'
Yeet.
in the right order this time again. Back on it. The
Feels
old
good.
The right order, the way God intended.
First you skeet,
well,
then
you
you
don't.
yeet.
You don't eat then skate.
If this is somebody's first episode,
Don't
they
tell me
have
how to live my
no
life, Bob.
idea what's
Don't tell me. Yeah, no, none of this makes sense. So I mean,
True.
we're really getting those new listeners in on the
all
ground
the
floor
people
here.
who I'm planning to meet at Beef on, they're like, let me check out this straight chilling podcast for the first time. What is this?
Oh God,
should play them-
cancel. Cancel.
Skeet and yeet. I
We're
say.
hunting for dick.
Yeah, that's right. Here we go. This is the critics' consensus as determined by Rotten Tomatoes, led by a daring performance from Jean Dujardin. Deerskin finds writer-director Quentin Dupieux working in a more accessible yet still distinctive vein. I guess it's a little more accessible than Rubber.
I don't know. I guess.
It's tough to say if he's got that many
wouldn't
movies under his belt. Who knows what they're comparing to?
That's
Seems
true.
on par, mostly, you know.
It's a
Yeah, I kinda feel
that's
that
the
way.
thing is, it's like it's a totally different vibe than
It
Rubber
is,
to
but-
me. Like, if somebody liked Deerskin, I wouldn't necessarily say you need to check out Rubber, because I really don't like Rubber, but I really like Deerskin. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're both very strange in
They're
kind
very-
of unique ways, but they also they feel kind of similar to me too. Like I don't know. I don't know. They're definitely distinctive, but somehow still the same. Maybe that's just authorial.
It's kind.
influence.
You know what? It's kind of like Ty West films in a way, where
Yeah.
he picks like different subgenres, and so they each have their own unique feel. But then you're like, yeah, it's Ty West, you know. So I don't know. It's kind of like that. Different flavors, similar vibe, I guess.
All right. Well, with that all in hand, I'm going to go ahead and read some negative reviews and I think we got some good ones here. At least some that made me chuckle. Here's one. This is the sort of film meant to be seen on the big screen, surrounded by an audience, so that you can all meet in the lobby afterwards and say, "What the hell was that?" to each other.
Fair.
Yeah.
I expect that
That's pretty
reaction.
great. Here, no. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and do this one. The director drops any realistic attempt to profile one lonely guy's psychology in favor of a grand Guignol horror show. I don't know what that means. Unfortunately, Guignol. Is that
it's a French stage play. It used to be like real gory, just a lot of blood, practical effects and shit.
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
Here's the rest of it. Quentin Dupieux doesn't always strike the right balance with his transition from humor to horror. Yeah, all right. Well, that wasn't as funny as I was hoping. One last one, just in case we can't miss anything here. Everyone looks like they're having fun, which is more than can be said for me. All right.
I had fun.
There you go. Well, blame the Scotsman.
I always do. As an Irishman.
Not the true
Oh
Scotsman.
God. We had
Can't blame
thousands
the
of
true
listeners in
Scots.
Scotland.
My goodness.
I hope
Not
so.
anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's our Rotten Tomato segment. Bob, it sounds like we didn't have any trivia. Is that right?
Yeah, there's like no trivia on this movie, so we'll skip that. But I think we might have a cooter, so let's jump into our cooter of the week.
Straight chillin'. Gooder of the week.
Juice, what is a cooter and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's character type. And a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a cooter. We want the cooter with the most points. The 5 points of cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, is this going to be our first jacket cooter?
I don't know. Maybe. It's,
Well-
I think
man.
the jacket and George, I think, are a combo because they have the exact same goal, basically.
Okay.
I'd lump them together.
let's
I
talk
mean, you
about
see
George.
George speaking the lines of the
Yeah,
jacket.
they are.
So I think it's pretty.
Yeah, they are the same.
I don't know that part's debatable.
Manipulation.
Yeah, for sure. Lying and just all the things he's doing and telling people
Smug
are gonna be
Just
arrogance.
taking this woman's fucking inheritance and shit. What a
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Smug arrogance for sure. Jesus
Killer
Christ. Even just the
style.
concept of I want to be the only person wearing a jacket.
Yeah,
What?
dude.
Open up a can of whiff ass.
Yeah.
Looking at attire, I mean, it's debatable. That jacket, I think some people could pull it off very well.
Dude,
I
but
think
the
he looks
all
good, to be honest.
deerskin though.
I don't know about the whole outfit at the end though. Yeah, that's
It's like you
It's
can't
like
go
Denim
full
Dan
deerskin.
next tier up. It's the Pokemon evolution of Denim Dan.
Suede
is.
Dan.
Yeah, you can't.
Suede Sammy.
You might be able to pull off some corduroys. You can't go full corduroy. You might be able to pull off some deerskin. You can't go full deerskin.
I'm a quarter boy.
Don't tell me what I can't do. I am cords.
Yeah, I think looking attire for show, and then the last one would be overall patheticness. I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's
By
okay.
your interpretation, absolutely.
I think
and
so.
Just generally,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
enough to hit.
Even
for
just,
sure.
We didn't do-
just the scene of him being like, "Are you guys talking about my jacket?" Like that's
Yeah,
so
I know.
That would be enough. It would be enough.
It's like,
Maybe the
no,
best
what
scene
the
in
fuck
the
are
whole
you talking
movie.
about? Yeah, I love
love
that scene.
And he kind of like grabs. He's like grabs his breast pocket. You guys are talking about my jacket, right? What a fucking asshole.
Oh my god.
No.
We didn't do sexual deviance. I think
Oh
we skipped
yeah,
that.
we did skip.
That's the
sexual
one
deviance.
thing that I felt like
I don't-
like if it was your interpretation, Juice, of like he's a pathetic divorcee, that's the one thing that I felt was missing from his relationship with what's her name? Like
Like trying
not
to
necessarily missing, like
pathetically hit on her or something like that.
yeah, exactly. Like just make a move that is
Yeah.
clearly unwanted. You know, like
Yeah.
it seemed like
That's
where that
true.
was going at some point or another. So I don't think they have it though. Like it really just seems
I don't
absent.
think so. Yeah, but 4 out of 5, strong 4 out of 5.
Strong.
Yeah,
Real
That's
strong.
weird.
Yeah,
that
no debate
sexual
on most of
deviance
those.
isn't there though. That's usually a pretty common one, but yeah.
it is. Yeah,
Um,
an easy one to pin
He's
down.
way too self-involved, I think, to be like
maybe
sexually
he's
attracted
too much
to
in love with the jacket.
with him.
His loves
Ooh.
the
Yeah,
jacket.
he only wants to fuck that jacket. That's it.
So yeah, we
what's
got him.
the Wet Hot American Summer? I'm gonna go in the back and fuck the sleeve of my jacket or what? Like,
yeah. I fuck
The
asleep in my
cook.
sweater or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
fuck the sleeve of my favorite sweater.
Well, it's
yeah,
that
whatever.
time to watch the movie, boys.
It is.
Fondue with cheddar.
Fondue with cheddar. Yeah, I think we got him. I don't know that there'd be anybody else. It's George.
Slim cast.
Yeah, George with his
Yeah,
jacket.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yep. It's George. Put him away.
we got
Well,
him.
boys, let's finally talk about what we've been watching.
Hey, gang, what you been watching?
Randy, kick us off. What you been watching?
Oh, so many things. For starters, I'm only a few episodes in, like 3 or 4 episodes in, but The Bear season 3 came out. It's great. It's a fucking incredible show. It's just so fun to watch. It's so engaging. My God, the performances on that fucking show are incredible. The Boys season 4 also fucking fun as shit, as fun as it's ever been. Don't believe the bullshit. It's every bit the show that it's always been, and yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I also in between episodes of The Boys releasing, watched, and while I had COVID, watched Gen V, the whole season of Gen V that came out, and that was pretty good too. I don't think it's quite as good as The Boys is, but it definitely hits a lot of the same notes. But it feels more like a traditional superhero tale at the end of the day, at least in some respects. Anyway, still enjoyable. I like it, and I like how it ties in. Um, we got a trailer for a new Zelda game, so my ass shat in my pants immediately as soon as I saw that. It looks fun as fuck. I'm excited. I watched Pearl, and then I took Beck to watch X for the first time at Alamo, where they had a Maxine preview afterwards, which has me
Nice.
quite excited. It's going to be a good time, I think. Been watching a lot of Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's just all on YouTube. Been watching a lot of that. I mean, like that show fucking rules. It fucking rules. Make your
Like
kids
the
watch
old,
it.
like the
Required to
old
watch
one,
it.
because didn't they bring it back for a little bit?
I think they did, but yeah, it's just the
Yeah.
old one. I don't know
Okay.
much about the new one. And you know, it's low budget in all the best ways, and but it still tells like pretty good stories for what they've got. I'm generally pretty impressed with everything except for maybe the acting, which kind of adds to the fun of it. Um, let's see, and then last but not least, I got to see two of my favorite bands on back-to-back nights at the same venue. It was really great. Ted Leo and the Pharmacist, who I've never seen before, did a 20th anniversary playthrough of their album, which is my favorite album of theirs, Shake the Sheets, and then did like 25 more songs after that. It was fucking great. And then the Hold Steady was in town, who's an old time favorite of mine for sure. And I hadn't seen them in some time. That was a lot of fun too. And at one of those shows, I contracted COVID. So worth
Bummer.
it.
Sweet.
That's it for me. How about you, Juice?
Dude, I've never watched anything except for Sting, which I've got a mini cast coming out on. But I will. So I didn't watch. What was it? Infected or whatever? Is that
Yeah.
Infested.
infested? So I didn't watch that one. When did that one come out? Do you guys know?
It dropped on
This
Shutter a couple months ago.
March, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
around
Well,
when
no, because we
Sting
saw it
dropped
at April
too.
at
At
Overlook Film Festival.
Overlook.
So it was
Okay,
it was like a
yeah.
month or two after that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so late April, maybe early May. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, I'm curious to like
Yeah.
check that out now and see how they're similar, because technically Sting is it's a spider, but also technically it's an alien. It comes from an asteroid. But I mean, it's a
Whoa.
spider. I know.
Whoa.
But I mean,
man.
that's really I don't know what streaming service Sting is on. But yeah, like I said, if you're just interested in a fun it's also pretty short. And yeah, it's just it's like a apartment building that's kind of snowed in. It's in the middle of a blizzard, so like people can't get out. There's this giant spider running around. It's got a lot of heart though too, I will say. It's like a fun creature feature, but it's got this like kind of old school vibe of like this kid. There's this kid that plays a major role. She's like 11, and yeah, it's got a lot of heart to it. So it's fun, short. The effects hold up, like are like the spiders, like, you know, CGI or whatever, but they do a really good job with it. Yeah, I just thought it was a good fun movie. It was like really breezy. I don't know. It was just like it kind of felt good to just watch something that was like super low stakes but fun, and also a little heart there. So yeah, that's it. That's all I've been watching. Thing. Bob, what you been watching, my guy?
Hearing you describe that sounds like you're describing Infested exactly.
That's
like,
so
without
wild.
the alien stuff, but like
Yeah.
And without the little girl.
yeah, well, an apartment building, people stuck in it for a
Really?
reason, and
Okay.
there's a bunch of spiders instead of one alien spider.
Yeah.
Good effects too. So
Good effects.
double feature that shit. I've been watching some stuff. I watched the first season of Yellow Jackets. Shouts outs to your boy Matt. He hooked me up with a Blu-ray copy of that for the birthday, which is very kind of him.
Nice.
And that show's dope. I really enjoyed the first season. Christina Ricci plays this like wonderfully
Dude.
unhinged character.
She is so fucking fun in that show.
Yeah, it was a
Also,
delight.
holy shit, is she's gorgeous still.
Yeah, she has aged quite well. That whole cast is great though.
Oh yeah, Melanie
The
Linsky and I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
Jasmine Savoy Brown is also in it from the newer Scream movies. Some other faces that you'd probably recognize, but yeah, it's about set in the '90s. This female high school soccer team are going to nationals somewhere. They live in New Jersey. They're flying and their plane crashes in the woods and they're stuck in the woods for a year and a half. And fucked up stuff happens, and we're sort of jumping back and forth between present day and the '90s when they're trying to survive. And it's dope. Looking
That's
forward to
that
season 2.
soundtrack though.
The soundtrack's great, man. Yeah, bangers.
Mhm.
I've been watching a little bit of The Strain, which is that vampire show that was produced by Del Toro for FX like a decade ago or whatever, whenever it was it came out. Maybe halfway through the first season of that. I just hadn't seen it in forever, and I never did finish the show, but I remember really liking it, so I kind of wanted to try and go back and get through it. I don't know if I'll have time to, but I would like to because it's pretty cool. If you're a fan of his second Blade movie, the vampires are very similar in the show to the vampires in that movie. So worth checking out, I think. Also, Dinner Time Live with David Chang on Netflix has been my like go-to comfort watch. They air live on Tuesdays. David Chang has like 2 guests sit down in this kitchen and he just makes them food, and it's an hour long and they have like pleasant conversation and he explains the menu to them and he like specifically builds the menu to match their tastes, and it's very chill and relaxing, and it feels like you're at a famous person's dinner party for an hour. But I don't know, I've been enjoying that quite a bit. I saw Clue on the big screen at Sunray, which was
Ooh.
fantastic.
I like fun, yeah.
That was a lot.
Rest
That
in
was
peace, Martin Mull.
Yeah, I know that happened. I think 2 days before we
Oh,
ended up
damn.
seeing it on the big screen. A lot of fun though. I love seeing these movies that I've seen, dozens of times on the big screen with a packed house, and just the way things play and how certain things are funnier and more awkward, and like just how sweaty everybody gets. Like you don't see it's hard to see on a smaller screen,
Oh, sweaty
You
every.
can't see those beads of sweat like you
I want to
see them.
see them, I want to see them.
Put them in my eye.
Solid movie. Love it. Definitely a favorite. Last thing I have been watching is a movie called Zat, Zaat. It is
Zat.
Yeah, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it before. Creature feature from the '70s, shot largely at Marineland, which is like right down the road.
Damn.
And also just sort of around South Jacksonville and different neighborhoods. And it's one of those movies. It's not a good movie. I would not describe it as a good movie, but it is very, very charming and enjoyable in like a goofy, low budget kind of way. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's the
it's got
definition of schlocky, silly movie.
it's
Like
got a
from
vibe.
the 50s, like B movie, like drive-in movie.
Absolutely, yeah. It's got a very specific vibe it's going for, and it nails it. And the creature, is a dude in a suit. It doesn't look particularly good, but it's like it's still just a lot of fun. It's very, very goofy. I don't know. I had a good time with it. But that's pretty much it. That's what I've been watching this
Zat.
Zat.
Yeah.
So we got no voicemails this week, but if you guys are listening and would like to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, you can hit us up at 904-638-3231. You guys got any prompts for next week?
Nobody called us about their fashion tips or favorite fashion item.
I mean, look at us. Do we need tips? No. Come on.
Yeah. We're walking fashion week.
Did we play Logan's voicemail?
No, we'll do it. We'll do it at the end. I was gonna try and let it roll, so I didn't have to cut this out.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Son of a bitch.
Just act natural,
Impossible.
So yeah, calling with your fashion items. I don't know. I can't believe. Actually, you know what though, boys? This is our last cast before spooky season kicks off. So here we go. Let's kick it off.
Spooky season kicks off like every other week for us. Somebody who says it's
Nope,
kicking
this
off.
is
It is-
official. This is official.
It is insane to me that but before the end of June, you can get pumpkin spice stuff at the store.
That is ridiculous.
Michael's has
People are exploiting
decorations
that
out.
shit now.
Joann's has decorations out. Like
ridiculous.
They've already blown Christmas completely out of proportion. They're doing the same to Halloween. By the time we have like a bunch of like kids in college or whatever, they'll be doing that with Arbor Day or some shit.
Bite your tongue
It sucks. Like you can't
about the
like
kids.
I guess somebody's buying it, but like I have zero interest. If it is 98
Oh, I have tons of
degrees
interest.
outside, like I am not looking at Halloween
I
decorations.
don't. So I'm not gonna lie. So speaking of, we're kicking off Halloween season next week, but I have like kind of bumped the Halloween playlist a little bit. I've been
Oh,
like
shit!
scoping, like just there's some certain songs, and I
Out
try
of
not to
season.
like just let it roll, but I'm kind of ready to move in. So it's rainy season's moving in here, and so most days are kind of gloomy and cloudy these days, even if it's not raining. So I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm ready, I think.
It was a marriage to the beast.
Even though it's hot as shit, it's okay.
You slut.
I'm ready.
My God.
Let's kick it off. Let's kick off.
I'm
spooky
next time we pitch watching a movie that has a Christmas tree in it in March, and you put up a fight about it, I'm going to remind you of this moment. You've been bumping the playlist.
Well, just
For
a
shame.
scotch, just 2 or 3
Just
songs
a
at a time.
scotch. Just a scotch.
Ooh. Well,
That's-
I got to build a new playlist too. I got a 2024 one that I'm building.
Oh, it's just work. It's just for work.
Just for work. Just for
Here's a couple
purely
prompts.
research.
So we've got so Jaws on the 4th of July is the movie to watch on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
July 3rd is Return of the Living Dead Day. Everybody knows that. The 6th, like the proper as we like to joke around here.
We build in the calendar here.
The first, I'm sorry, the 5th, not the 6th. We joke around here. The first day of spooky season is July 5th because the next big holiday is Halloween after the 4th of July. So what do you watch on July 5th? What are you kicking it off with? What are you easing into the season with if you buy into that mindset? Call in and let us know. Also, are you guys down with spooky shit on the shelves in June and July? Like, is that annoying? Like, am I the only one that's?
I think it's a little annoying because it's exploitative.
Yeah, I mean, if it makes people happy, it doesn't make me happy. But maybe I'm
the thing is, they have like Christmas in July things where you can go do, but it doesn't mean like if you want to do that in July, then go to Christmas in July. But it just being on the shelves of Michael's, it's just like, this is the moneymaker. This is the exploitation. It just feels exploitative.
If they were throwing like barn burner summer deals on spooky decorations, then I actually would be interested. I'd be eating my words, but I don't, to my knowledge, think that's happening. But maybe I don't know. I'm not looking.
It just feels like there's nothing else we can really make a lot of money off of. So here you go. That's what it feels like. Doesn't feel genuine.
People aren't as jazzed on 4th of July this year for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what the deal is, but I can't figure it out.
I love the 4th of July. Here's the thing of like, I get the country's fucked 4 ways from Sunday, but also like we're not pagan. We fucking love Halloween. We're not personally a Christian individual. I fucking love Christmas. Like, I don't know. Like, we celebrate Thanksgiving, and like there was a bunch of fucked up shit related there. Like, if you kind of go down the line, we would all just not celebrate anything, I think.
You just want to, Bob, you just want to party. Okay. You just want to drink. You just want to drink Coronas on Cinco de Mayo.
Without excuses to party in this country, it is all toil. So yes, I will take it.
Yeah, the 4th of July is about, barbecues, pool parties, fireworks.
So you're just celebrating the grill,
and
is what you're saying.
3rd degree burns.
Grilling season.
Peeling skin cancer.
Malaria. The usual.
Yes.
Yeah, just all the great things.
guy.
I mean, maybe you are pagan and you just didn't tell me. I don't know.
Okay,
Sorry.
what is this? What is your? What do you understand to be true about pagans and 4th of July? Because I'm not
No,
getting.
I'm
he's
talking
talking
about
about
Halloween.
Halloween.
Oh, this is for Halloween.
Yeah,
Because
I
he's
was-
You were talking
saying,
about how like. Okay,
well, because he
all right.
said we're not pagan, but we celebrate Halloween. I'm not a Christian individual, but I celebrate Christmas.
Yeah,
I
if you
see.
you can
Okay.
find reasons to not celebrate any holiday if you want to, is my point. That's
Yeah.
so make it about what you like and then do that thing.
Just party every weekend. It's
Yeah,
really just
actually, yeah, exactly, precisely. So, Colin, there's some questions in there somewhere. Hit us up.
No, there's not.
what are you watching?
nine-
What are you watching on July 5th? I think that's the main one.
July 5th.
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
What are you
yeah.
drinking on 4th of July?
This is a gallon of PCP.
That's right.
Will Straight Chillin' Podcast ever cover Independence Day before the 4th of July? Maybe before episode 1000.
God in heaven.
Maybe.
Hit us up 904-638-3231. That's gonna do it for us this week. You know, I know precisely what we're gonna be watching on the 5th next week. In theory, a lot of us anyways. Maxine's coming out on
Yeah.
the 5th of July. And that's what we're reviewing next week.
yeah.
Yes,
so you
it is.
get those sweet tushes in the seats and watch Maxine and get ready for next week's show. I'm pretty stoked for it, boys. We got a couple bangers these next 2 weeks. Maxine
sure.
and
Let's hope so.
Longlegs. Yeah, well, yeah.
God, I hope we don't get disappointed by these movies.
Potentially.
Anyway,
Check out Maxine. Get ready for next week's show. Until then, find us on all the socials. Straight Chilling Podcast will pop right up. If you want to join in the daily Slack channel conversations, just hit us up on social media. Say so, and I'll drop you a link so you can join in on the fun. And until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
She was gorgeous.
Okay, yeah, I totally forgot about Logan's voicemail.
Yeah.
So we should do that. Okay. Are you ready to play it? I'll cue it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
good.
cool. And as is per usual around these here parts, if you guys pick a movie for us to review on the show, we invite you to send in either an email or voicemail with your own thoughts and ratings. And shouts outs to Logan. She did opt for a voicemail. Let's go ahead and roll it.
What's up, Straight Chillin' crew? I was really excited to finally get a pick, and even more excited to be able to pick Deerskin for you guys. Totally not because Soju gave me a shout out on y'all's Weber episode whenever he watched it the first time around, totally unrelated. I am very excited though for people who have never seen this movie before to see it. It's truly something to experience, especially if they did like Rubber. I liked it a little bit, but I saw this and I liked it way better. I know Rubber's not for everybody, and I don't think that this movie is necessarily for everybody either. It is most definitely for me, and I think it's also, if you really want to, in my personal opinion, display the like perfect qualities of a pathetic cooter. I wonder if y'all are gonna give him look and attire, because while I do think that jacket is cool, those deerskin pants, but I think the jacket looks way better on Adele Hanel if you ask me. That being said, I think that he really is just like, that was all I could think of the first time I saw this movie was like, this guy is a grade A cooter. Really, he's just missing like sexual deviance. But I loved his killing spree so much during the movie. Like, that's one of the main reasons I picked it for you guys as well. I don't think that this movie necessarily would qualify as horror to some, but I think that what he does there is most certainly horrific. And it's also just super entertaining, like using a fan arm, whatever you would call it, to like slice that one chick in the head. That was kind of funny. So yeah, I think though that other than that, this movie still has really great ways of, like I just said, kind of displaying the cooter. And I guess what not to do if you're traveling. First things first, don't spend every penny you have on a jacket. But I need to wrap it up here. So I think I'm going to give this movie a 3. I highly enjoyed it, but there are some down points in the movie, so it does kind of drag a couple points, couple times here and there, even though it's only an hour and 15 minutes. But I really hope you guys liked it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. Bye!
reflecting the 3 that I put out there.
I know,
I'm
hard with
appreciative of that.
Randy over there.
Yeah.
Rock
Yeah.
hard with Randeezy.
That's my new workout show. Keep tuned.
Rock hard.
Start with the
But
squats,
yeah.
dude. Pump that
Thanks.
butt up.
Yeah, thanks, Logan.
Got it.
I will say I really do appreciate the pick. Also, just thank you for participating in the You Pick the Flick. But I will say this was your one shot to pick Casper, to get in before 500, and now I just don't think it's gonna happen,
Yeah, I don't think
never
and it
gonna
would have
happen
been
It's
it
on
would
the
have been
blacklist now.
almost perfect release date too, because this comes out on the 3rd of July and
Oh
spooky
my
season's the 5th.
god. Oh my god.
So close.
Who are you gonna call?
Yeah.
Oh
Someone
my
else.
god.
Straight chilling. Yeah, this was an interesting movie. I'm super glad that you did pick this, actually, Logan, because I don't know that I would have watched it if you hadn't, and I
Yeah.
really, really enjoyed it. And it really makes me want to watch more of this dude's stuff.
And thanks for the original recommend too.
Yeah, solid. I'd never even heard of it. Probably wouldn't have heard of it if it weren't for the Lo Mang. So, yeah, good pick. Solid. Really enjoyed the discussion and the viewing experience. Hopefully, you enjoyed the episode as well. It's not a pile of shit. Yeah.
Sorry, firework just went off outside.
Oh.
Startled me.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for the pick,
it.
Logan. Thanks for hanging out. And without further ado, let's go ahead and roll into our Rotten Tomatoes segment. Okay.
And we're good. Yeah,
I'm gonna
a couple
stop
times
recording.
during that recording, there's like fireworks being shot off